Hi guys, my name is Jasmine Guillena and I'll be discussing about static routing, the introduction of static routing to the user. So, introduction to routing. Routing is a process of sending data between networks, and routers decide the best path for the data packets. So basically, amo inihiya nag-form in path para kung diin maagi or diin makadto it data, diin it destination ng data. Tapos it routing, may dito hiduduhang na types, which is static routing and dynamic routing. For simpler terms, or para mas maintindihan natin yung klaro, static routing ang matiyat manually pag-configure and dynamic routing is automatically learned or automatically natiyan ada na dida. For example, DHCP, amo ito dynamic routing. Now, what is static routing? So, static routing is the process of sending data between networks. I-routers ito na decide it best path niya para mga data packets. So, data packets, amo ito tiyan mo mga envelope or envelope. In other words, for other people to understand. So, static routing namin ito means the network administrator manually enters routes into a router's routing table. So, amo diyan manually pag-configure ang mga IP addresses niya para maaram kita kung di makadto ang packet, di makadto ang data. So, these routes don't change automatically. Okay, since configure manually mo hiya pag-connect. So, it's used in small, simple, or stable networks. Example po niya, amo ito na lang ng bash, IP route, the IP addresses. So, amo ito hiyaan, imo configure nga IP para di na maagi or di na malolocate and for the characteristics of static routing. Then again, as aforementioned before, it's configured manually by the network admin. It's predictable. The path stays the same kasi ito naman nag-mod. So you manually implemented it and it doesn't change because I already mentioned one. So what I get to be a bandwidth used for updates, it's stable, non-affected by network changes unless reconfigured, meaning if baguhon mo, ano mo or yeah. Tapos, it works best in smaller fixed networks. Ang malad to iya. Ang ito yet characteristics of static routing. And note, static routing means manually created or manually configured, manually connected. But everything is basically you're doing it yourself. Very automatic. That's the simplest way possible to understand what static routing is. Now, on to the advantages and disadvantages of static routing.
Everyone, so I will talk about advantages and disadvantages with this. So we'll talk about first advantages. First is simple and easy to configure. Easy and simple because you just route them manually, no special route software or protocol needed, and perfect for small network. Second is secure. It is secure because since the static routes don't automatically share information, it's harder for attackers or mistakes from other routers to affect your network. Third is predictable. It is predictable because the data will always travel on the same route you set, so you know exactly how it moves. Third is no extra bandwidth or CPU usage, since the router doesn't have to calculate or exchange routes, saving system resources. And the last is it is stable. So the routes stay the same until you manually change them, which makes the network behavior consistent. So we are done with the advantages. So we will proceed to the disadvantages. First is manual setup. it is a disadvantage because you have to type every route manually, which takes time. Okay, then it's not scalable because in big networks with many routers, this becomes confusing and difficult to maintain. Third is no automatic rerouting if a link fails. So it is if the path goes down, the router won't find another way to automatically. You must fix it yourself. Fourth is time consuming to maintain. Yeah, it is time consuming because every time you change in the network means you have to manually it means you have to manual it means more manual updates, I guess. And fifth is error can break communication. Since if you type wrong route, data will not reach its destination at all. And that's it.
Hello everyone, I am Beverly Canonce from Group 9 and my part is how static routing works. So the first one is router receives a packet. When data is sent across a network, it travels in small units called packets. A router's job starts when it receives one of these packets. The second one is check routing tables for destination network. So the router has a routing table like a map that tells it where to send packets. It looks at destination IP address in the packets and checks if there's a matching route. The third one is if a static route exists, forward packets to the next hop IP. So a static route is a path manually set by a network administrator. If the route finds a matching static route in its table, it sends the packets to the next hop IP address, which is the next device in the path. The next one is if not, drops packets or uses the default route. If no static route matches, the router may drop or discard the packet, meaning it goes nowhere, or if a default route is configured, it sends the packet there instead. A default route acts like a fallback path for unknown destinations. So in the next slide, you will see a configuration examples, which in this setup, we have two computers, the PC1 and PC2, connected to two routers, the R1 and R2. PC1 is in the 192.168.1.x network, while PC2 is in the 192.168.2.x network. Since these networks are different, the routers need instruction on how to send data between them. On router R1, a static route is added so it knows how to reach the 192.168.2.0 network, where PC2 is by sending the data to router R2's IP address. Likewise, router R2 is configured with a static route that tells it how to reach the 192.168.1.0 network by forwarding the packets to router R1. Without these static routes, the routers wouldn't know where to send the data, and communication between PC1 and PC2 would fail. These routers act like directions, making sure information travels correctly from one network to the other. So the next slide shows the types of static routing. So standard static route. This is a manual route that you set up to reach a specific network, you tell the router exactly where to send data for a particular destination. It's simple and commonly used in small networks. The second one is the default static route. This works like a last option route. If the router doesn't find a specific route for a destination, it uses the default route to forward the packets. It's like saying, if you don't know where to go, follow this path. The next one is floating static route. This is a backup route. It only used when the main route fails. Think of it like a spare tire. It's not used unless the regular one stops working. The last one is the summary static route. These types combines multiple networks into one route. Instead of creating many individual routes, you group them together to make the router table shorter and easier to manage. So the next slide is conclusion. In conclusion, static routing means that the network administrator manually sets the path that data should take. It works the best in small networks where the connection don't change often. Because everything is set up by hand, it's very simple and predictable, but it's not flexible if the network changes. In bigger networks, static routing is often used together with dynamic routing to make the system more efficient and reliable.
Hello everyone. So today I'll be demonstrating the standard routing and default routing. So siyan, standard routing ani kita. So pag-createin ining klaseng scenario is we need two routers and two switches and maybe 4 devices para matas natin iti connection. So siyan, we add router then 41 there, dual routers, dual switches, and duha nga upat nga PC pero tagduha usat tag-usa nga side. My bad. There. Siyan, we add connection. Then after connecting, set up kita configuration hit aton PC. And next, connect natin ang duduang routers. Plus Ethernet 0. Okay, so amo na ni. Mag-a-add na kita ang config IP address for each PC na nakikita natin nga di. Let's go to desktop and IP configuration 92.168.2.2. Okay, ako man lang but you can try different numbers kung gusto niyo. Pero na ako nahiga. So sunod-sunod ko. 2.1. Oh, forgive me. Ang default gateway naman gin-set up ko yung adaan kay amo tapon pinaka indication nga amot connection router niya. Kaya nga ako man ay bubutangan pinaka-itiya gateway kumbaga. Okay. Tama na yun eh. Tapos, para ini nga PC ini nga router, we set up the configuration. Kita na natin kung anong klase nga connection nila. Okay, so fast Ethernet 01 dito kita. Jadi ko gin-add an default gateway kung baga amat pinaka-address niya. That one. Turn it on. But since it's real time, may niya delay. Tapos i-apply natin an same process sa nga side nga mga devices. So, ready. Desktop. Same process lagi ako ng pag-connect kay type with test i-connect. Oh wait, I forgot to add the IP address at kanan router 1.1 on good. Sige. First, we try to send packet to the same sided device. So let's try PC6 to PC7. Kita natin connection successful. Okay, then let's try to the other side, PC6 to PC8. Yun, failed diha. Let's try to PC9. Failed gyapon niya. So in order nga makakonect kita other side nga the devices, or in order for them to communicate, we have to configure it era static routing. So this is the standard routing demonstration. So we go to the first router at the left side, router 6. We go to routing and may mababasan kung static. Let's click this one and we add an IP address. Ito network. So I decided nga may tagibutang 192, that's 168.3.0. Last 55.255.55.0. Tapos makuha natin ini the next hop from sa nga router. So router 7. Dito may magkakamay heran connection nito. Ito. So as I remember, it's 192.168.2.2. We add wait, 32.2. That's 1.2 ngayon. We add and then we save. Check natin natin kung naamo na ba yung butang. Amo na. So next is i-apply natin same gyapon other router. So we go to routing to static, apply the same pero ibalene 68.2.0. tapos kuha kuha na ito na first nga, no? Na router. On that one. And then we add and save. So, aman na eh. We check Ether connection from PC6 to PC8.
Hi guys, so this is our quiz. Answer well, make sure to read the instructions carefully. Alright, okay, bye-bye.